I'm really excited about this one just because I'm kind of going off of what Laurel did last team call. And this one, I wanted to talk about communication. I feel like communication is pretty much the function of our everyday life, right? But especially in what we do, because everybody's meaning of a word is so unique. And for us to broaden that and that understanding is not only going to make us feel more confident in that communication that we're having with this certain person that we're having, right? But to be able to navigate that conversation. So let me share my screen with you real quick. You can see what I have. Okay, let me put this in presentation mode. Okay, everybody see it? Thumbs up? Yeah. Okay, so communication. So we're going to up level your skills, and I want to get away of that feeling of being stuck in the fluff. What do I mean by fluff? What I mean by fluff is the unnecessary conversation when you're already in the DMs. Okay, so you have someone that has come to you. We're talking about a potential. We're talking about a customer. All right, you already have them through the door, but now it is up to you to figure out what they are needing, why they even message you in the first place, what their struggles are, where they want to be. Okay, not just their goals, but like that emotional side of things. And that's where up leveling your skills begins. But where do conversations begin? Like, where do you even start? Like, that's the big question, right? We feel like, okay, I hear this from this team, this meeting, and then this person says this. Like, I just feel so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to even begin. Okay, let me break it down for you, okay? It's a lot simpler, and I'm going to show you how simple this really is. So there are 4 aspects that I want to talk about that I feel is the foundation, basically. And every time why I keep coming back to these 4 pillars is throughout time that I've been in this industry since 2018, which there's been so many changes, but along this, I have gone through a lot of things in my life too. And I feel like broadening and really getting that skill set of that communication, it comes from that self-growth. It comes from that self-development. It comes from those things that you went through that you didn't want to go through, but you learned something in the process. Okay. We all have hard times. We all deal with things that we may not even be talking about on our stories, right? And that's what I'm going to get into a little bit more because yes, we want to have boundaries, but I want you to look at it in this whole different aspect, okay? So as you can see, conversation comes in various forms. So we're going to be talking about self-growth. We're going to be talking about content. We're going to talk about potentials, okay? So first up, we're going to talk about self-growth. This is by far the most important thing of all. Why do I say that? Why do I say self-growth? Because if you are not getting to know who you are, how are you going to help someone else? How are you supposed to help someone who is asking you for help when helping yourself along the way? And now this meaning for all of us is different, okay? And what I mean by that is self-growth can be something about, getting up in the morning and getting yourself breakfast to getting yourself dressed, putting some makeup on. Everybody's self-growth is different, but it comes down to you understanding where you're at, where you're struggling, where you need to focus on, and how you're going to take that next step forward. So personal, and I found these, which I really like, it just said it so perfectly of what I wanted to showcase to you guys. So personal side, we're going to talk about the personal side. So the benefits of personal growth, learning to better control your emotions and negative thoughts. I will tell you this through ever since I was diagnosed at 20 years old. Mind you, I just started living my life. Okay. 20. Okay. Got out of like the teens. I'm 20 years old. And your emotions will dictate your actions. You hear that a lot, I'm sure. But also being positive is a lot harder to accomplish because negative is so much easier. It's so much easier to feel swarmed of, this isn't going right. I don't want this to happen. Why is this happening to me? Versus flipping it and looking at that positive side, like, okay, what is being taught to me? Why am I going through this? What is being shown to me that I'm not seeing right now? And I get it. Sometimes you feel like, I'm tired of this, I don't want to go through it. But listen, sister, that's life. Like, life is about going through those growth periods and discovering something about yourself. And I don't think we take enough like gratitude around that, because we live in such a microwave society, right? Looking at the next person, what they're doing, like, oh, I want that. Like, what's the next best thing? Oh, I want that. Versus looking at yourself like, man, I've been through hell. And looking at that next step, and you're like, man, I can't believe I did that. But you didn't take the acknowledgement during that moment when you went through that. Because here's the thing, when you don't do that for yourself, that mountain's going to keep getting higher and higher. And you're going to feel like you've never done anything in your life, that you've never accomplished something that you wanted to so badly, because you're looking at the next person. You're not looking at yourself clear back where you started. And that is probably the most challenging thing in your self-growth journey, right? Now, and the biggest thing is with personal growth is overcoming procrastination or laziness, being open to learning new things and skills, having a growth mindset, finding peace and contentment with things you cannot change. Like, just think about that for a second, okay? Like, things that you cannot control. When things in life that you're going through that you don't want to be happening, and it could be something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life, and you have no control over it. And you can feel this hopelessness. You can feel this overwhelming feeling of, life really sucks. Like, why did God give this to me? Like, why do I have to be the person be dealing with this? Versus like, you know what? Like, yeah, this really sucks, but is it the end of the world? No, it might feel like it in the moment. And I'm not saying to ignore your emotions, but at the same time, you have to be able to take control of that emotion and figure out, okay, what's my next step? What do I need to do? And that starts with yourself. It starts up here. But by being able to do that, sometimes you can't do that alone. And that is the one thing that this community has been able to, I know, definitely have given me, is that power to step out of my own way and actually put myself in a position of being able to bless someone else with things that I've gone through, things that I can share that can help someone that has gone through, who is going through what I've gone through, right? So self-improvement helps enhance strengths, improve mental health, and even heal relationships. And this to me, like healing relationships, it can be very broadening, right? Not completely forgiving someone, whatever that relationship is, but being able to be in a state for yourself in a contentment of, I've been through a lot in my life, and, I'm going to bless and release, and I'm going to keep going where I'm going, even though, there's going to be people who may not understand why you're doing it, but does it matter to them? No, because here's the thing, what you are going after in your life, the only person that why it matters the most, it's only you. Like, nobody cares about your dreams as much as you. Nobody cares as much as like where you're going except for yourself. Okay, because sometimes people can't see why, what do you see in this, until that one thing happens. And it could be a month from now, it could be a year from now, it could be 5 years from now, but eventually it will happen, because time does not stop. Now let's transition to the business side. Thing about the business side, it can really catapult your personal growth. And why I say this is because when it comes to business side, it's not about you. It's about those around you. It's about those that you're helping. Because when your focus is away from yourself, it's going to not only keep you accountable to others and their goals, because you know what it feels like when you are able to help someone. It feels good, doesn't it? Like, to be able to get that message from someone, like, you know what, I was able to make my kids breakfast this morning without having to down a Monster energy drink and without screaming at them. Like, it could be the most simplest thing as that. Or it can transition into, I was able to pay for my rent or my car payment or buy groceries or buy lunch for my family. Like, it could be anything. But personal growth is a process of bettering yourself. That's what it comes down to. But the hardest thing when it comes to self-growth that we put on ourselves, that it feels impossible. But in reality, it's not impossible. And I'm going to show you that it's not impossible, okay? Where's my notes? Oh. Okay. Okay. Now, this is something that I want to talk about. Projecting. This is something that we do in this business, and we don't intentionally mean it, okay? Now, I'm going to use myself as an example because, oh man, I got a lot of these, and I've learned throughout the years. And so what is it? So projection is a psychological defense mechanism that distorts our perception of reality. So it involves displacing our feelings, our thoughts, tendencies, fears, and insecurities into others to protect ourselves. And I'm going to use this, okay? Who I am today, I was not 2 years ago. And let me explain that. This is a picture of me and my son when I was still in the military, okay? He was almost 1 year old. And something that it started within here was about money, okay? Living paycheck to paycheck. If you know anything about military life, it's tough, especially when you are a E4 and below, okay? Mind you, during this time, I was newly diagnosed with MS, not even a year yet, and I had a son. And so one thing that I took from this time to when I started network marketing was the projection that nobody had money to buy anything, okay? Even when I was trying to help them. So I had a very difficult time of talking about the business. I had a difficult time talking about money side of things because of where I was. I wasn't having any self-growth around this because I was in this fearful state, but I wanted to get out of this, okay? And mind you, this is with my previous company. And so I was projecting that people could not do what I do, even though I could barely do what I was doing. But I had this fear of no. I had this fear of nobody would be able to do this because they could barely even afford it just like me, but I was doing everything that I could to be able to work that business, right? Now, here's the thing that I want you to remember is how incredible our business comp plan is. The ability that we have to help our customers, the ability that our customers can get free product and their people can get free product. And with that being said, when someone is having a conversation with you, when it involves something that you are struggling with, I want you to remember something. I want you to remember that you cannot put yourself onto someone else of what they're going through, okay? You cannot put your emotions, what you've gone through in your life, onto this person you are speaking to because you do not know what they can and cannot do. That's where you are going to be able to figure out is asking questions, okay? And we're going to get into that, okay? Okay, next pillar, content. Your content is the biggest communication area, and that comes from your stories, posts, and reels. Your stories, your choice of words matter. And let me tell you, your wording, your words will get better and better and better with time, okay? But the only way that you're going to get better is actually to show up on your stories, post your reels. That is the only way that you're going to get better. Let it be messy. Let it be imperfect, because let me tell you, people relate to that so much more versus you trying to contract something that you feel like it's just so perfect. Because let me tell you, I promise you, more than likely that spending hours on is not going to get a lot of views compared to something that is more relatable, right? Remember, your stories are your storefront. And what I mean by that is I want you to think outside of like a brick and mortar. Okay. Yes, you go to a store, they have their merchandise, all the things, right? But I want you to think your storefront is more personalized. It's more unique because it is you really being able to showcase who you are, who your community is, your customers, everything that's going on. Okay. It's more personal and a whole different level. And you get to showcase that however that you want. There is no wrong way to do that. Now, when it comes to your posts and reels, this is the most valuable thing you want to share on your posts and reels. You want to showcase your message to reach those you want to connect with. That is where you're going to have that outreach. Okay. That's where you're going to be able to bring more people in besides, okay, this is on outside of going out and connecting with people. Okay. But having that organic outreach is where this begins. Let it be messy. But the only way that you're going to get better with that communication, it starts with just doing it. Now I want to showcase just a few of some examples for you. Okay. So I have an example about my family side. I have an example about the business side and one about a product side. So as you can see, with my hair one, I kind of just, you know, I never had this kind of hair growth. And pretty much at the end of that, I did a call to action on it because I want people to reach out to me and be like, hey, like, I want to do what you're doing. Right. And I actually had a couple of gals, so which was pretty awesome. But of course, I want to showcase my life. I want to be able to show people about my journey with where life is at, because this business has a big participation within that. Because if it wasn't for this business, I don't know where we would be. Like, I don't know how we would make it to Florida at all, to be honest with you. But then showcasing the business side, I'm kind of being forefront about it. Like, I took the first step. Like, I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. I wanted this, you know, this step towards covering gas, the step towards groceries covered, the step towards vehicle payment covered. Like, showcasing people where I have gone, where I have been able to accomplish, and being very confident about it, because I have never believed that I would be able to do what I do today. And it's because of that started with that self-growth. Okay.
Hey, Bob, I don't think we can see the slides that you're showing.
Oh, really?
It's still showing the communication
Hold on.
page.
Oh,
Sorry, I meant to
man.
show it or say it earlier, but you're on a roll.
Why it's doing that? Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Dang it. Okay, hold on.
It happens.
I don't know why it's doing it now. It won't even come up. Okay, let's do this. Maybe. Is it this one? This one. Okay, do you see that?
Black screen.
Nothing?
No.
You see that? No? Oh, that's so sad. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep on going. And I'll drop this in the team chat. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why it's doing this, but you know what? We'll just roll with the punches. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go into the next pillar, in which is team. So team, this is your safest place. Like, I cannot like say this without being very, I don't want to be vulgar about this at all, but I have such a passion about this community because this is one of the most safest place that you can have that growth, not only in that personal growth, but that leadership side. But it starts with you. Like, you are the beginning of it. Like, you will have that mentorship and that guidance and cheering on, but you will never be forced in any type of situation at all. Like, you have to take that first step. You have to take that initiative and go to that person that you enrolled with and be like, hey, like, I want to do this. Like, I want to, step into that leadership role. Because once you do that, then things will start to explode more for you. And this is what it's done for me. Because of being in this leadership role, it has not only given me the ability to have this discovery of the self-confidence that I have, but I've realized when I get to bless others before I do anything for myself, I realize that life is created in a way of blessing those around you, because the blessings will come to you. Like, you don't, it's so weird to say this, but you do not bless yourself. Does that make sense? You don't bless yourself. Those around you will bless you. You take that initiative of helping those around you. Because when you do that, you will discover something more about yourself every single day. And I'm not saying bad days aren't going to happen, because let me tell you, those bad days will come. But those bad days mean something. And it's up to you to figure out what they are. Is it something that you have lost touch on? Is it something that you are not paying attention to, that you have not been able to give yourself grace of learning that time? Because let me say this, you cannot dictate the time of when you're learning something. Okay. And a lot of that is a lot of inner growth that you may not have discovered that you had this capability. Like, we are all capable of incredible things. But when you lean on those around you and to step in that space where you can be able to discover that, girl, like, I'm telling you, what are you waiting for? Because if you are not going to do that, then I want you to really ask yourself, like, what is that fear? Like, what is holding you back? Because once you can really get that down, being able to go into that communication side of how you're showing up, to how the words that you're using, your message is going to be a lot more clear versus feeling lost. Because have you ever gone to someone's page, or if they're on their stories, and you kind of get this sense of like they just feel all over the place, they feel lost, they're not too sure about something, and they don't realize it, but you're seeing it? Like, we do that. It's crazy. Those outside people around you, they can pick up on things that before you. Let me go with this last one. Okay, your potentials. So you have your messaging side and you have your behind the scenes side. So the first side with potentials is your message, and it comes back to our content. Okay, what are you posting? What are you sharing? How are you talking about? What is your tone of voice? What are the words you're using? And I'm not trying to overwhelm you, but I want you to pay attention to this. And how you can learn this is going back to your stories the previous day and watching yourself, hearing the words, how you're speaking. Okay, this is what I've done for the past year, and it's really helped me get a grasp of how I'm communicating with those around me. What do you want your audience to take away? This is the biggest thing. What do you want your audience to know? Like, what do you want your audience to feel when they see your content, when they read your content, when they see your stories? Like, what do you want them to understand? What do you want them to learn? What are those emotions that you want them to feel? Because once you can get an understanding of what that is, and it's a great way that you can go and ask questions about this too. Like a side sister, one of us, like, hey, could you read this? Like, what do you get from this post? And always, when you are doing this, be open to that feedback. And always know it's not to critique, to down you or whatnot. It's up to uplift you and empower you and help you have a better understanding of what is going on. Now, when it goes to behind the scenes side with potentials, they're already through the door, okay? But this is where you can be more direct. Remember, you are not salesy, but without asking questions, you will not know what they are seeking. So you have to lead with a conversation. So being able to lead with a conversation, I need to be able to not only connect with them, but also be what's that word that I'm thinking? Compassionate with them and understanding, but also having that relatability with them, like understanding like where they're coming from, but also being able to showcase, you know, maybe you haven't gone through something that they're talking about and you know someone that you can share a little bit about their story, but also flipping it back to them, asking them, say that, you know, I just can't see myself, if they say this, I just can't see myself selling anything. And I can come back and say, you know what, I never thought I would be in this place either. But I got to a point in my life that I hit rock bottom and I had to do something. I had to change something. And every single day, I'm super grateful that I took this step into this business because I wouldn't have the confidence that I have today. And it is because of this community. Like, and flipping it back to them and asking them, you know, what would a community do for you? What is something that you would look for in a community in helping you? And getting that conversation of discovering what they're looking for, what they're wanting, all those things. But I want to leave you guys with this. When it comes to what you think about how is my message getting across? How can I do communication? And I will say, if you feel stuck in this and you don't know where to go, I'm going to tell you, go back to that personal growth side and find those podcasts, find those books, connect with people that you really connect with their energy, that you connect with what they're putting out. Because when you start watching them and seeing how they're speaking to their audience, learn. Take notes what they're doing. How are they using their hands? How are they using their face expressions? How are they changing their tone of voice with stuff? Because I will tell you, people pick up, like, we pick up on these things without us really subconsciously really realizing it. But I hope this was helpful. I will drop this into the team chat so you guys can go over it. I do have a recording in there at the very end of the slide where it says navigating a conversation. And this was with a potential that I had. And I just want you guys to hear the words that I'm saying to her. I did voice memos, and I just want you guys to kind of take notes on how I led that conversation. But I also want you to know, before I messaged her, well, I messaged her and she sent me a message. I knew she was watching my stories. So one thing that I was doing was I was showcasing my community. I was showcasing my team. I was showcasing what we were doing. And that's what led her to message me back after my voice memo, which I think it was like over a week, I want to say. But I knew she was watching me. And let me say this, like, people will do that. People will watch you, even though you message them. You have to think people's lives are crazy, whatnot. But if you know that they're watching you, put that, whatever that conversation that you've been having, create it into something within your stories. Making it a little bit more directed towards them without making it like, hey, I'm talking to you, basically, but making it like there's other people out there that are having the same question, or for them to be still on the fence. But I just want to say thank you guys for jumping on. I appreciate it so much. Right now, the huddle's going on and Laurel is hosting. So I'm sure you guys will hop over there with me and cheer her on and everything. She is doing what she did last week for our team call. She's actually doing it for the bigger team. So I love you guys. Thank you again. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.